Hey, hey, hey. Happy Wednesday. Come on in. Pull up a chair. The Gaming Gang Dispatch is in the air. Howdy, gang, and welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host, here at the Gaming Gang Dispatch, brought to you by, shockingly enough, GamingGang.com, which I happen to be the founder and editor-in-chief. So welcome aboard. It is another War Game Wednesday here on the Dispatch. It also just happens to be Wednesday, May 31st, 2023, and this is live stream 926. If you're not overly familiar with the show, let me point out it's probably already obvious that super casual around here, just hanging out, talking about the latest in tabletop gaming news. And normally we will take a first look at a game. That is what we're going to be doing tonight. We are going to be diving on in and taking a look at Ancient Civilizations of the Middle East from our friends over at GMT Games. That's right, this is a civ building game. It is a follow-up to Ancient Civilizations of the Inner Sea. And we'll be taking a peek at this tonight. Sweet. I really dug Ancient Civilizations of the Inner Sea. In fact, it was one of my favorite games of the year when it came out. So I am really looking forward to diving into this. I understand, I think there's 16 or 17 civilizations included. So that should be pretty sweet. So I do want to mention, if you are tuning in and you're not overly familiar with the show, say you're tuning in because you want to see that live unboxing, please keep in mind, we do tackle the tabletop gaming news first around here. So it's probably going to be at least 35-40 minutes before we get on into that unboxing. So if you are watching live, put your feet up, relax. Come on, it's happy hump day, right? Probably already had a long week. So, be good to yourself. If you happen to be a subscriber to the channel, you might have something to occupy your time while you're waiting for that live unboxing. But if you happen to tune in 30 minutes or more after the show ends, there will be timestamps. There will not be blood, but there will be timestamps. And those will be found in the show notes. And of course, depending on the device you might happen to be using to watch this, those timestamps might be right there in the timeline of the video. So if you want to, if you're in a hurry, if you're impatient, you really want to get to that unboxing, you can always jump ahead. It's okay. But I do have some cool news tonight, so keep that in mind. Of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more that you will not find here on the YouTube channel. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com, the newly redesigned thegaminggang.com. I'll talk about that a little bit after the news. Do want to also point out, if you are watching live, if you are a subscriber to the channel for at least 48 hours, you may take part in chat. I know it's not like it's, some amazing thing or, the benefits of being a subscriber. But hey, you get to hang out and talk to some cool people who are usually in chat with us. And of course, if you want to say howdy, maybe you've got a question, a comment, maybe there's something about ancient civilizations of the Middle East you want a closer look at, chime in. I will do my best to respond. First out the gate tonight is one of our chat moderators, the Motor City Madman himself. The Madman is with us. Kathy Evans, Mark Dandy, Stray Kismet, Tessie Trekkie, Deja Vu, and Bill N are already hanging out in chat. Bill N says, how can you have any pudding if you don't eat your meat? How can you have unboxing if you don't watch the news? So he makes a little Pink Floyd reference. When I was a teenager, I could not believe how many people did not know that was the line. It was not eat your meat. It wasn't eat that people thought they were saying. I think it was Roger Waters who was doing that like voice or whatever. Yeah, Pink Floyd was an odd kind of band, especially with Roger Waters, because Roger Waters was an odd, well, he is, he's not, it's not was, he's still around, but he is an odd bit of a duck. He really is. All right, so let's jump on into the news, because this November, Legacy Gaming will come to Days of Wonder's Ticket to Ride series. Here's the skinny on Ticket to Ride Legacy, Legends of the West. In Ticket to Ride Legacy, Legends of the West, players embark on 12 journeys across North America as 19th century pioneers. The campaign begins on the East Coast, with players working their way to the West, from one adventure to the next, meeting challenges along the way. As in Ticket to Ride, completing your tickets will remain your primary goal, but you will need to develop other skills if you hope to overcome the unexpected events and your resourceful rivals. Game after game, route after route, you will continuously fill your vault with earnings. As the story progresses, you will open frontier boxes that unlock new rules, content, and many more surprises. In the Legacy style, Legends of the West is a unique experience molded by player choices. Each player has their own role to play, allowing them to change the way the story unfolds around them. Combined with evolving mechanisms that change as the game progresses, players will have a new experience every time they gather around the board. At the end of 12 games in this Legacy campaign, you will have transformed your game into a unique copy that you can continue playing for a lifetime. Ticket to Ride Legacy, Legends of the West, is for 2 to 5 players, ages 10 and up, with each act of the campaign taking between 20 and 90 minutes to complete. This game will chug into stores this November. It will carry an MSRP of $119.99. I am of two minds with this. In fact, there's another news piece that I am of two minds about tonight. As Flaming Huron has joined us, yet another of our chat moderators. Welcome. So on one hand, I think this is pretty cool, because legacy games can be very interesting for people. I know one of my very good friends I gamed with out in Arizona. In fact, I have mentioned him a few times over the years. My friend Louie, he and his son, and at the time his son was older teen, they played Risk Legacy and they absolutely loved it. And they were big board gamers. It wasn't as if that was like the only game they had played. So there is that. Now, on the flip side, Ticket to Ride is really, really lightweight. And I get it as you open up these little boxes, which obviously will have puzzle pieces that are added to your board to expand the states westward. is it really going to be the kind of game that's going to have like that legacy feel to it? I'm kind of curious. I really am. And truthfully, and I'm not trying to knock Rob Devio, but he's involved with it and he's done some legacy games that are less than stellar. So I don't know. I mean, he's done some awesome other games, but he has done some legacy games that were just sort of. So I'm curious. Plus, I think the $120 price tag on it is it's kind of hefty. I'm saying it's kind of hefty. The Madman says, I'm interested, but never liked the idea of permanently changing the game. Love the temporary stickers you can buy separately for other games. Yes, there are some legacy games out there where you can get like a refresh pack that has like all the, another batch of the stickers and things like that that you're changing. I am not a fan, which I believe I never played Risk Legacy, but I am not a fan of destroying components in a game. Some of the exit the game adventures have you like cutting cards up and stuff like that. I don't know. I feel weird destroying things. And yes, I get it. Exit the game is like an escape room sort of game. It's just a mystery game you play once. But to me personally, I prefer to be able to play it once and then give it to somebody else for them to play once. So I don't know. I'm up in the air. I am up in the air. I no longer have any sort of relationship with Days of Wonder. So it's not as if we're going to be seeing a review copy of this at all. But I thought it was pretty interesting because after, at least in my opinion, a few years of being really, really quiet, Days of Wonder has been announcing some new games. I know their Berlin Ticket to Ride is coming out. I think it's in October, if I remember right. Moving right along, speaking of fall, this fall is going to see the release of Trolls and Princesses from Game Brewer. Here's the latest. Release your inner troll. Trolls are not big and stupid, as many would have you believe. Not long ago, they lived among us, and they used their cunning magic. I have a cunning plan for magic, my lord. To look like us humans. They live with their cattle in the mountains. Their caves were beautiful and luxurious, with a lot of silver, gold, gems, and a table full of delicious food. We sure we're talking about trolls? In Sweden, there's an expression for this. Rich as a troll. Yeah, Swedish trolls are quite a bit different. Trolls were not evil, and if you didn't treat them badly, they could even be helpful to those who treated them well. But they often played tricks on humans. Their magic power, trollcraft, could distort the vision of humans so the troll looked like a human, an animal, a log, a stone, and they could even become invisible. But they also had some weaknesses. They couldn't stand the sounds of church bells or steel, not to mention the sight of the sun. Trolls and Princesses is a worker movement game. You play as one of 4 troll clans, and to get the Mountain King's favor, and you'll try to impress them. The players get favor in the form of victory points when they do what trolls usually do. Swap changelings. Oh, so we got changelings in this. Hire humans, tear down church bells, kidnap princesses, build their caves, and use troll magic. To succeed, the players must collect resources and move around their trolls to do different actions. The player with the most victory points at the end can crown himself the ultimate troll clan leader. Trolls and Princesses is for 2 to 4 players, ages 12 and up, plays in 90 to 120 minutes. It's going to carry an MSRP of $69 when it arrives in stores this October. I like the cover art. As for the rest, I guess the meeples look pretty nice. And the board looks pretty cool. I'm just not a fan of like the little plastic beads in games. And yes, I get it. I know who Brewer is. I know how they got their start. I've seen them in enough conventions selling, components for you to build your own games. But I don't know, the little gems there. I'd rather see cubes, to be honest. But hey, this could be kind of fun with worker movements as you lead your clan of trolls. Let's move it into some role-playing game news, because following a highly successful Kickstarter, Kobold Press is now taking pre-orders for Wastes of Chaos and Tales from the Wastes, both for 5e. Of course, I'm sure you'll be able to use them with Tales of the Valiant. But here's the scoop on these two books. Wastes of Chaos brings you everything you need to create hard-hitting adventures in ruined lands, including details on chaos magic, corrupted locales, fiendish cults, and ancient treasures. 4 playable races and sub-races, including automatons, dust goblins, and wasteland dragonborn. There are 8 subclasses, such as the Doombringer Fighter, Way of Chaos Monk, and the Wasteland Ranger. There are also 4 Wasteland factions and their followers, including the Cult of the Black Goat. My, that seems as if that would be Cthulhu Mythos related. And the Chaos Reavers. There are 38 new creatures, including the Eldritch Horror. Wonder what that is. I think that's what we're actually looking at right now. And the Chaos Drake. Plus, full-color maps, new spells, magic items, and more. And of course, then we have Tales from the Waste. Confront secrets stirring in the dust. Enter devastated lands torn asunder by ghastly creatures and chaos magic. These wastes hide ancient treasures, potent magic, and abandoned cities waiting to be discovered, or refusing to stay buried. Tales from the Waste brings you fast-paced 5th edition adventures set in twisted locations, packed with memorable NPCs. Inside this tome, you will find 15 new single-session adventures suitable for levels 1 to 18, playable separately or in sequence. New environmental hazards to face, mysteries to unravel, and encounters with terrifying villains. 15 full-page, full-color maps and dozens of illustrations, as well as new monsters, NPCs, magic items, and easy prep for your next game. Wastes of Chaos is supposed to clock in at 192 pages. It carries an MSRP of $49.99. You can get the PDF for $19.99. That is not available yet either. So you're pre-ordering the PDF. While Tales from the Wastes is supposed to be 128 pages, I don't know if it is, because there are 3 additional adventures in it compared to what was presented for the Kickstarter. So in the Kickstarter, it was a dozen adventures. Now it's 15. So that page count may have changed. It carries an MSRP of $39.99. That PDF is also $19.99. And you can pre-order now. The release date for both is slated for August. And I'm going to take a guess that we're probably looking at a Gen Con release. Sweet. You already know, you watch the show, I talk about Kobold Press. I really dig Kobold Press releases. I really think that their Midgard setting is very unique. I mean, it's still high fantasy, but I really do like it quite a bit. I think Wolfgang Bauer and the rest of the team over at Kobold Press has really done yeoman's work on some of the best 5e content that is available out there. So once again, these are going to release in August, and I would hope that we're going to be able to take first looks, and I should be able to review these as well. Fingers crossed, but I think I will. All right, next news piece. Weird Valley Press and Exalted Funeral has released Pan, His Majesty in Yellow from author Wayne Reynolds in print and PDF. I've got the dope. In the Neverlands, the boy god Pan, shadow puppet of exiled Hester, twists everything and everyone that comes within his purview to suit his whims as he lives forever in the here and now. Pan, His Majesty in Yellow is a fairy tale cosmic horror sandbox campaign setting, combining the lore of Peter Pan, Hester, Neverland, and Carcosa into a strange and unique gaming experience. Inside, you'll find a sandbox campaign setting with dozens of evocative and strange islands and locations to explore. Also, a new imagining of lost Carcosa. High-level threats for seasoned old-school adventurers. Low-level parties may outsmart or avoid the titanic Chronodile, or parlay with the mercurial boy god Peter Pan, or trade a service for their lives with the ancient witch Mamie Mannering. But going toe-to-toe in combat with most of these eldritch beings is ill-advised. New monsters like bleeding trees, sinister chaffinches, lurking shadows, vain and cruel mermaids, twisted neverbirds, bloodthirsty gnome tailors, giant possums, and more. There are truly memorable NPCs, such as Peter Pan himself and his various avatars he may be encountered as. The legendary Captain Hook, Ladon, the ancient Hydra, Mamie Mannering and her old ladies of the forest, the fairies of the winter and summer courts, the lost children, the enigmatic Solomon Caw, an unusual assortment of pirates, the wise men of Blind Man's Bluff, Sir George the errant knights, and there is much, much more to find within. This 76-page hardcover and PDF together carry an MSRP of $40. You can get that through Exalted Funeral, or you can grab just the PDF alone over at Drive-Thru RPG for $20. Flaming Heron says, Peter Pan and Cosmic Horror is not something I'd put together. Yes, it doesn't jump out at you, does it? Front End Chaos, Disavow 92, and Roger Perdome are hanging with the gang tonight. Tessie Treggy says, I'm sold. Exalted Funeral, shut up and take my money. Well, if you do send them your money, you let them know where you heard about this. Because I have reached out to Exalted Funeral to try to, maybe review some of the stuff that comes out from them, and I've heard crickets. But this is the other news piece that I am kind of two minds about. So it is a 76-page hardcover with the PDF. It's $40. Now, I do understand that this is a limited edition. I think this is like a print run of 500. So, okay, so it's a limited edition, and the artwork looks pretty cool. The presentation looks really nice. So I guess I could say, yeah, all right, the $40 MSRP, okay, because it's a limited edition. It's a limited print run. But the PDF being $20, that's a bit high. It is quite a bit high, in my opinion. Now, this could be fantastic. And we've talked before, compare playing games to going to the movies, and especially playing role-playing games, and the cost of that, and the cost of going to see one movie as a family of 4 just does not compare. You get so much more entertainment to the dollar for your gaming as opposed to films and that. But I don't know. Let me know what you think in chat. It's $20 for a 76-page PDF. Pricey to you as well, because it is to me. Now, if this was like $12, $14, I'd be like, yeah, okay. All right. I don't know. Just me. It's just me. Let's move on to our last news piece because there's another new arrival in print and PDF, and it is the fantasy role playing supplement Organic Towns. Obviously, it's towns where marijuana is grown. No, not really. It's well, I was gonna say it's system agnostic, but it's not kind of. It's kind of like for 5e, Pathfinder, and Swords and Wizardry. So a pretty wide swath there. Anyway, I've got the lowdown on Organic Towns from Headless Hydra Press. After weeks of travel and adventures, the party returns to town to discover nothing. Literally, nothing is different since they left. We can do better than that. Organic Towns is a system-neutral supplement GMs can use to create, grow, and run towns that feel alive. This system will help you run interesting, memorable, and constantly changing settlements while making your life as GM easier. Featuring drop-in mechanics that can fit in any fantasy tabletop role-playing game, Organic Towns includes dozens of random tables and over 100 unique buildings and upgrades to make your settlement one of a kind. Your town will be a living, breathing, changing world that's also simple to manage. Create an immersive role-playing experience for your gaming group with Organic Towns. Organic Towns utilizes a population-based settlement points system that provides a framework for settlement leaders to spend resources to construct buildings, raise armies, and trade with other settlements. Settlement leaders manage construction, decide what to trade for, and roll for monthly event tables. Every choice has consequences, as the settlement can fall prey to high crime rates, predatory bandits, rioting, starvation, plague, dehydration, and more. Sounds like a fun place to live. This 144-page supplement allows game masters to construct over 100 unique buildings and building upgrades, take dozens of settlement actions and trade actions, build unique military units and ships, monitor and manage settlement resources, crime, morale, food, water, housing, and population growth, and track everything on an easy-to-use settlement sheet. The 144-page hardcover is available for an MSRP of $49.99, or you can grab just the PDF alone over at Drive-Thru RPG for $24.99. And how did that get in? Man, I'm telling you, this solid state drive is driving me nuts, because it's like, how is that piezo file in there? This Flaming Heron's like, how did that piezo slide get in there? So Front End Chaos and Flaming Heron also point out that the pan supplement for the PDF is a bit pricey. Flaming Heron says, come on, Exalted Funeral, give Jeff some review copies. Speaking of review copies, I will be sharing a look at Organic Towns from Headless Hydra Press in the near future, because they are sending a copy. So we will get to take a look at it and gotta check it out. It does sound interesting. It really does. Because I would say one of the aspects of game mastering, especially like for a fantasy role-playing game, is making like towns and villages memorable. What are you gonna do? I mean, usually, like, even if you're playing a published adventure, the villages and cities are pretty light as far as details. Now, I'm not saying that you need to be overwhelmed with the details about a village that your player characters are passing through, or maybe using as a base of operations for, a few sessions, but A lot of times there's really not much. It's just sort of like, oh, it's got this, this, and this in town. There you go. Enjoy. All right, that is it for the news tonight. Of course, I was just talking about Drive-Thru RPG. So don't forget, the gaming gang, thus the Dispatch, is affiliated with the One Bookshelf sites. So if you are going to visit, say, Drive-Thru RPG or Dungeon Masters Guild, Storyteller's Vault, Wargame Vault, what have you, please stop by thegaminggang.com first. Click on one of our banner ads. Yes, we have a banner ad back with the One Bookshelf sites. And of course, if you click on that and visit any of those One Bookshelf sites and make a purchase of any sort, I get a small portion of that sale. It's actually 5%. So it doesn't cost you anything more to simply go to thegaminggang.com first, click on one of our banners, and then make your purchase. And it really does help keep thegaminggang.com around. Also, if you like this video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. And if you like this video, if you dig the channel, if you find thegaminggang.com to be a valuable resource, hell, if you just like what we do, please stop by paypal.me/thegaminggang and consider making a small donation. And thankfully, there are quite a few people who use those banner ads and or visit paypal.me/thegaminggang. So thank you kindly, everybody. It is vastly appreciated. Kevin R. Smith is with us tonight. Good to see you, Kevin. All right, so anyway, that's the news. So before we jump on into the first look at ancient civilizations of the Middle East, there was something I wanted to talk about real quick. I promise, it'll be quick. As I waste time and, take a sip here. So, some people are kind of curious about why I don't just stick to reading the sell sheet information about games and then moving on to the next news piece. Why I have to throw my 2 cents in regarding the news. So, there are a few reasons. And one is, no one's paying me to do this. I am not under any obligation whatsoever to share news from anybody. I'm really not. Now, if I happen to do a Kickstarter video for somebody, of course I'm going to share a news piece when that Kickstarter launches. But how often do I actually do Kickstarter previews? Although I do have one coming up late in June. But yeah, maybe not even once a month do I share a Kickstarter preview. So, for one, I'm not under any obligation to share news about anybody. And most of the time, when I share a news piece, okay, maybe half the time, it's something I stumbled across. And I thought, oh, hey, that's kind of interesting. Or I was like, for an example, like I was talking about that pan. And I was talking about Ticket to Ride Legacy. And I said, I'm of 2 minds about this. And on one hand, I'm like, wow, I'm really interested. And then on another hand, I'm like, I don't know. Right? But I mean, people are like, that's how things are. I mean, that's the reality of it. So I'm just presenting the news and then sharing some thoughts about it. Usually, sometimes I'll just read a news piece and it's pretty self-explanatory. I don't really get in anything more than say, oh yeah, that sounds pretty cool, or I like the artwork or whatever. So, yes, Flaming Heron asks, are people still complaining about the news? Oh, of course. Of course they still complain about the news. I will go out on a limb. Now, I may not get any comments about it on this video, but I will guarantee you there will be some first-time viewers who stop by to check out this video because of ancient civilizations of the Middle East, and they will be pissed that there's a news portion to the show. And because I've had people do that. Wargamers can be real fussy. I don't know, like a lot of gamers can be super fussy, but in different ways. But yeah, wargamers are. I've gotten some comments on videos where it's like, 40 minutes before I'm done, you even bothered to look at whatever. And yes, thank you. Do they not know about timestamps, which get mentioned in the beginning of the show? And the timestamps are there. And the timestamps, for most people, are in that timeline of the video. Now, there are some people who are probably on certain devices that, no, you do not get this, the chapter breaks that you can select. But the vast majority of them do. Yes, so I do get people who complain about the news, or they either complain about the news even being part of this show, or they complain about me presenting the news and then sharing my 2 cents about it. So Kevin asks, has anybody accused you of liberal bias yet? I mean, I've had people with my video where it was, is the OSR full of right-wing fascists? I've had people like, you know, say, what are those bleeding heart liberals? You're too woke. But I don't know. Christopher Rush is with us and says, I like what you're doing. Don't change a thing. Well, thank you. Thank you. Front NKS says the only answer you need is authenticity. Yes, I have been authenticated. Yeah, that's the other thing. As JC is with us too, I noticed. Good to see you once again. I am who you see. That there is no. Now, granted, I do kind of project my voice a little bit more than I do in real life, but not much. Not much, because my voice does carry. But this is not a shtick. This is me. In fact, I'm probably less silly doing this than I am in real life. So I tend to be kind of a Weisenheimer quite a bit. Anyway, so Disfound92 says, it's your show. You don't have sponsors to answer to. No, I don't. I don't really. So Kevin says you must be getting the wargaming grognards who still think RPGs are a bastardization of their hobby. I don't know about that. I think it's not always wargamers. I mean, it's people, you know, role players, board gamers, what have you. I tend to find, at least for me, more people who are cranky who identify themselves as wargamers, because a lot of them are just very set in their ways. Tessie Treggy says, and now Pan is mine. Also, Jeff, you're stellar. Well, thank you. So yes, Tessie Treggy, you let Exalted Funeral know why you bought that, who you heard about that from, and they still won't respond to me. Disfound92 says, you do you. Everyone else can kick stones. Well, I'm just mentioning this because I guess last night I was like sillier than usual, which you may notice when I do a show after I've run a role-playing game, I tend to be a little bouncier because I seem to have a little more bounce in my step. So I don't know. Well, just saying. The other thing I was going to tell you is the gaminggang.com is newly redesigned. The look of it hasn't changed tremendously, but it's bigger and bolder. So if you have an opportunity, swing on over and check it out. And of course, if you never visited thegaminggang.com, why not? I mean, all the news that I provide, you get. There's hundreds of reviews on there that you will not find here on the channel. And there are news pieces that will pop up from time to time, like today, that just aren't part of the show. So do want to mention that. Check it out. It is bigger, bolder, but, you know, it's the same old, same old me and the team. So check, like I said, do me a favor, check it out. And if you've never been to thegaminggang.com, you really owe it to yourself to give it a peek. Fred KS says, I liked hearing the gaming anecdotes. So Tessie Trek says, I'm not saying that a lot of geeks are lacking in social skills, but they are. Oh yeah, I know that. I know that. Kevin says, Jeff's stories and insights are what makes this channel unique. Anybody can read a sell sheet or press release. Yeah, that's true. I got to be honest, I really don't follow other outlets. I just don't. I don't have time for one, especially focusing on role-playing games. I mean, I got a lot of reading I have to do. Thankfully, I can read. I don't know if there's really anybody out there. Now, I know there are plenty of live streams. I wonder how involved they are with, like, the people watching live. So Christopher says, yeah, the recap of the game was that I talked about yesterday was great. I did get an email from somebody who did not like that. They were like, you wasted way too much. You waste way too much time. Just like I had a comment from somebody one day telling me that I talk way too slow and that I pause way too much. And it's like, and they were somebody who had their own channel of 6 videos that had pulled in over the 6 years it had been around, like almost 100 views total. So I was like, and, I'm sorry, I am not, some 20-year-old kid who just, just, there's pausing for effect and things like that. So Fleming Heron says, don't breathe. So yeah, they're like, you take too many pauses. You talk painfully slow. I'm like, yeah, all right. I was like, well, why don't you focus on your channel with all 6 subscribers and 100 views in 6 years? So yeah, this 92 is like, kick stones. Christopher says, I'm happy you aren't trying to sell me earbuds or Raid Shadow Legends. Actually, I was just about to talk about Raid Shadow Legends. Jason says they could always just speed up the video using the settings. Yeah, that's true too. That's very, very easily true. All right. So, yeah, Flaming Aaron says, I'd buy those earbuds if Jeff sold them. I think I've mentioned before, and then we are going to hit the brief intermission and into the unboxing. And I was going to say that I never have April 1st fall on a day I'm doing a show. Because for April Fool's Day, I would actually have all of these like sponsor interruptions. And it would all be like stamps.com, Purple Mattress. I would just do that throughout the show. Coco B says, don't like your stuff. Probably don't like Wilkins coffee either. Christopher says those commenters are probably screaming into the void right this second. That's right. Like I said, I won't be shocked if there is a comment. Now, you don't have to like go out of your way to make this comment, but I will not be shocked if there's a comment on this video saying, I can't believe it took 50 minutes, and it might take a couple of minutes more than that, before he started taking a look at ancient civilizations of the Middle East. And it's, yeah, I try to point out, right up front, shows super, super casual. It's not like we're sitting here like, well, we got 47 minutes plus commercial time. All right, speaking of commercials, I think it's time for a brief intermission.
It's time for an intermission. And there's time before the next show begins to take your family to our concession stand. You'll find fresh, hot popcorn, delicious candy bars, whatever your family desires. And you'll find the greatest treat of all, knee-high beverages. Yes, golden knee-high orange is the quality refreshment beverage that comes in quantity size. Everyone in the family will enjoy the true fruit flavor of knee-high orange. It's the beverage that meets all of your refreshment desires. Perfect for flavor, perfect for enjoyment. Treat yourself to the biggest treat of all, knee-high orange. And an extra attraction, this theater also serves quality famous Royal Crown Cola, the cola that's best by taste test. For real enjoyment, visit our concession stand and ask for Royal Crown.
Lowell, Superintendent of Police Leonard O. McPhail, and Property ID Cope Director Captain Thomas W. Kelleher discuss and formulate plans for the implementation of the Community Organization Alert Plan. Designed and instituted to prevent crimes through neighborhood self-help, the Police Community Relations Bureau is on the way to success. And here is how Cope works. You see a criminal offense in progress. Call the police at 40425. Identify yourself as a Cope member, and you don't have to give your name. Give the officer on duty all the details of the crime, who, what, where, and when. Radio control will immediately dispatch mobile police units to the scene of the intended crime.
Fresh candies, the flavors you love. Assorted drinks, your favorite beverages. Hot coffee. Hot dogs the way you like them. Ice cream, smoothly delicious.
If you don't drink Wilkins coffee, you're not all there.
Oh, that's a lot of...
In fact, without Wilkins coffee, you're nowhere.
Come one, come all to our giant flea market, where you'll find bargains galore. Be a buyer, seller, or swapper, or just come for the fun of it. You'll find antiques, hard-to-find merchandise, things you've never dreamed of owning. Anyone with a garage or closet full of goodies can become a weekend moneymaker. For the time of your life, bring the whole family for all the fun at our giant flea market. A refreshment stand will be open for your convenience.
Yes, Wilkins was disintegrated. Alrighty then. So, Quantum Face Dragon is with us, and Sarah D chimed in. I figured she was probably lurking. Good to see you both. Hopefully I've said hello to everybody who is hanging out in chat, who's chimed in at least. So yes, I thought it was funny. It's like, how did Narc? Kevin says, when they were a kid, RC actually had TV commercials. Haven't seen one in forever. Well, just like, if I'm able to, I actually buy Diet Right, which is an RC product, as my soda of choice, because not only is it sugar-free and no caffeine, it has no sodium, which very few soft drinks are sodium free. Problem is, it's can never find it. Walmart used to carry it. Walmart carries RC, but they don't carry Diet Right anymore. And I'm one of these people. I won't spend like $2.50 on a 2-liter bottle of soda. It's like, oh, absolutely not. Alrighty then. So tonight we're going to dive on in and take a first look at Ancient Civilizations of the Middle East from GMT Games, designed by Christopher Vorderbruge and Mark McLaughlin, with art provided by Mark Mahaffey, and I also think Roger B. McGowan is involved with graphic design on this too. The game is for 1 to 6 players, ages 14 and up. Plays in 2 hours or more. It can be quite a bit more. Does carry an MSRP of $90. It is available right now. Kevin asks, is the taste of Diet Right improved? It used to be slightly better than Tab when he was a kid and his mom was on a diet. To me, most diet sodas taste the same. If it's not Coke or Pepsi as a diet soda, they almost, I mean, I'm not talking like diet Dr. Pepper or something, but like the Diet Colas, most of them all kind of taste the same to me. All right, let's swing on over to the other camera because here I've got Ancient Civilizations of the Middle East. So, do want to mention the fine folks over at GMT Games were kind enough to provide me with this review copy, but you already know, neither I nor anyone else affiliated with the gaming gang has received any other sort of compensation for me to share this coverage with you. And it's actually important that you know that. All right, let's take a peek at the back. I'm not going to read all of this, but I will read a little bit. As I said, 2 to 7 hours. So 2 hours or more, could be quite a bit more. Ancient Civilizations of the Middle East is an exciting, easy to learn, easy to play game in which players guide their civilizations through the biblical era. Each civilization will fight to become the dominant power of its age through conquest and the building of cities, along with establishing the supremacy of its powerful deity. The game includes 17 different civilizations, each with its own unique characteristics, from taking captives instead of looting, to supremacy in siege warfare, and much more. Acme, okay, well, yeah, that would be, okay, so yeah, it would be Acme. You mean the company that Wile E. Coyote buys equipment from? Is not a sequel nor an expansion to Ancient Civilizations of the Inner Sea, but a standalone game using the same multiplayer and solitaire systems as its predecessor, with many new and exciting features, such as deities, cultural development, and religion. All right. There's a bit more, but let's jump on in. All right, box, let's go. Come on, it's coming. There we go. Wow. So, got some pretty good heft here. As you can see, as with most GMT releases, you're not getting a box full of air. So we've got a rule book. Yes, our playbook, which we will be looking at in just a few moments. Let's move that out of the way. Let's focus on the rule book first. It's kind of an interesting presentation on the cover here. It's a little bit different. So we've got a game overview. In Acme, players will command one of 17 of the major powers / civilizations or peoples of the time. Oh, here we go. Here we go. I'm going to mispronounce a bunch of these. And I don't have an excuse because they are not fictional. Akkad, Syria, Babylon, Chaldea, Samaria? Oh, yeah, it is Samaria. I'm thinking, wait a second. Sumerian? You mean Conan? Egypt, Elam, Greek, Hittite, Indus Valley, comprising the Dravidian, Harappan, and Mauryan civilizations, Israelite, Medes, and Persians, Mitanni, Scythia, the Sea Peoples, who nobody really, to this day, is sure where they came from. Sumer, some people call it Sumar, but I always thought it's Sumer, or Urartu. Okay, there are some that I am not familiar with. I have listened to quite a few audiobooks about ancient civilizations. So we get what's different, important game turns. We have barbarians, camps, cities. So we have these discs that as your city grows, you'll actually add discs. So the higher that stack is, and I want to say like 4 of them makes a city. Yes, front end chaos says the sea people came from the sea, probably. Well, the only real mention of the sea people comes from the Egyptians. They're the only ones who I think actually documented them and called them the sea peoples. So it is possible other civilizations had problems with the sea peoples, because the sea peoples came and they're almost like squatters. They just showed up and started taking over. So the Egyptians were fighting them quite a bit to try to throw them out. So just different terms here. So 3 of the tokens there, the discs, is a settlement. I think 1 is a camp. So we got our victory point track. The cards. We've got deity cards, which once again, that is something new for this game. Our civilization displays, which we'll take a look at them in just a moment. We've got the basic setup. So you can play solitaire. You've got 2 players, 3 players, 4, 5, and here we go, 6. Bill N says, comes with Klaatu, Barada, and Nikto. Talking about stacking. Throughout the game, there are limits to how many discs belonging to a single faction can stack in an area. White discs, stronghold markers, and the 3 other types of colored cubes, green, blue, and yellow, do not count towards stacking limits. So we've got the growth phase, the stronghold step, retirement step, acquisition step. And it's kind of cool because if I remember correctly, because it's been a long time since I played Ancient Civilizations of the Inner Sea, once you have your discs out there, because it's essentially your population, you can kind of transfer them to adjacent areas. This is not an overly complex game at all. So we've got the card phase, where you're going to play event cards. We have fate cards, investment cards. There we go. We've got disc placement and removal. Establishing a deity. Through the epochs covered in Acme, there were literally thousands of gods or variously named gods among the region's civilizations. It's like Life of Brian. Everybody's a prophet. Deity cards, each with its own unique attributes. Oh, I'm sorry. These are represented by 7 generic deity cards, each with its own unique attributes. Civilizations are not required to worship the god or goddesses they historically adopted, but may choose the deity whose attributes will complement the player's vision for their civilization to best weather the turbulence of time, the travails of the game, and the grief one's opponents may inflict. Speaking of inflicting grief, you can play this without having conflict. You can play ancient civilizations of the Middle East as well as ancient civilizations of the Inner Sea as just civilization games without any sort of warfare. We have the Gilgamesh step. During this step, each civilization may, in turn order, choose to invoke the Gilgamesh rule. The Gilgamesh rule cannot be invoked during the game's final epoch, and each civilization may only invoke it once per game. To invoke the Gilgamesh rule, the civilization must either have at least 5 fewer victory points than any other civilization individually, or have no discs on the map. So it looks like this is a kind of a catch-up mechanic. If you're like way behind. Huh. Okay. Talking about the end game, player with the most victory points wins. That is it. Some notes from some of the fate cards. Well, the fate cards is profit. There you go. Barbarian hordes. Nice. Cool. Now, this is the sort of game that my best friend Elliot Miller has absolutely no issues playing because he enjoyed Ancient Civilizations of the Inner Sea. So here we got our playbook, and I say it all the time when we're looking at GMT releases. I always read the playbook first because I just find that normally there is a detailed example of play which makes the rules of the actual game far easier for me to wrap my head around. So it looks like we've got a lot of different scenarios in here. So we've got our default setup. We've got different map sizes, probably depending on the number of players. Of course, we'll be looking at the map in a moment. I'm taking a guess it is a mounted board because the box has enough heft where I would think it's a mounted board. Multiple civilizations per player. Okay, so here we've got our historical situations. So we have Sargon. We've got the Lion of Judah, the Sea Peoples. Historical note, the two great rivals of the 13th century BC clashed at the Great Chariot Battle of Kadesh and then made a lasting peace. The tablet bearing the terms of that treaty is on display at the United Nations. That was fortunate, for soon after, wave upon wave of invaders, including both raiding forces and entire populations, crashed upon the shores of Egypt and the Levant and contributed mightily to the erasure of the Hittite Empire from the map of antiquity. Yes, those were the Sea Peoples. So balance of power, Agamemnon, fire on the steppes, king of the four corners of the world. I'm king of the four corners of the world. That's a mouthful. Cyrus the Great and the rise of Persia. Empires on horseback, Darius and the Great Rebellion. Successors. Now we've got solitaire situation scenarios. Here's our solitaire rules. Got a few pages of those. NPC minor card draw and VPs. This might still be solitaire rules, I'm not sure. NPC hostility. Yes. Yes, it looks like this is all still for the solitaire. So, gotta be honest, it looks like our solitaire rules are far more in depth than the actual rules of the game itself. And we got some special rules. Some solitaire scenarios? No, looks like just that one. So it's a solitaire or two-player legendary scenario. Bonus game setups. Here come the Romans. Mithridates the Great. Rome versus Parthia. So we've got our example of play. So it's an example of a turn. But as you can see, just kind of flipping right on through here, a lot of detail. This is very in-depth. And this is what always helps me wrap my head around the rules. Bill N, NPC hostility, they complain about the news. So we've got our differences between Acme and Ancient Civilizations of the Inner Sea, which I thought was also in the rule book. I thought we had a little entry there too. And we got the real history behind the game. It's like we've got optional rules or an optional rule. And our select bibliography. Just taking a quick peek. Just taking a quick look to see if there's anything that I have actually read or listened to. And it doesn't look like it. All right, so that is the playbook. So then we've got our civilizations. So we've got Egypt, and these should only be single-sided. Yep. So here we have, there's Egypt. So they have the Gift of the Nile, is a special ability that they've got. Babylon, revered city of gods and archivists. Assyria, siege trains and standing army. Akkad, the first librarians. Sumer, first Mesopotamian civilization. Elam, the first Mesopotamian empire. Chaldea, city of priests and astronomers. The Hittites, foundries and mountain fortresses. Scythians, Kurgan nomadic horse culture. Medes and Persians, master horse breeders and immortals. The Cimmerians, people of the northern seas. The Indus Valley, they are advanced city culture and a warrior empire in the fourth epoch only. They are the sea peoples, raiders, traders, and settlers. We got the Greeks, triremes, hoplites, and colonists. The Israelites, Promised Land and Ark of the Covenant. Mitanni, Marianu, noble chariot archers. And then the Urartu, a genius for engineering. All right, so that is that. We got some stickers. So we're going to have some blocks in here that we're going to put the stickers on. It's like we've got some player aids. Probably have a couple of copies of each. Cultural development tracks. Well, only one copy of that. So we've got a breakdown of the civilization abilities. Solitaire player aid. We only need one copy of that. And then, are we going to have 6 of these? That'd be very cool if we did. There's 3, 4, 5, 6. Nice. Each player would get a player aid with sequence of play and the change of epic table. Nice, I like that. like that they've got 6. I mean, if they had included 3 and people would have to share, that's still fine. But I like the fact that they actually included one for each and every player. So let's see what we got here. How big is this board going to be? It looks like it's 4 panels. So you always got to be careful with these boards because they can easily tear. Okay, so looks like the good old Panasonic is auto-focusing all right. I'm going to move this box so I can kind of slide this to give you a better look as well. So we've got our civilization turn order, our epochs there, our turns, victory point tracker. And then let's show you the other half of the board here. So it's showing where each of the civilizations are going to start. Nice mounted board. And it's not, well, granted, I mean, it's relatively large, but it's not huge. I mean, if you were going to have 6 players anyway, you would need to have a relatively good sized table. But, yeah, a standard size like dining room table, this fits okay. So we've got all of our discs, our blocks, we've got cylinders. They're all located in this bag. And we've got a couple of, well, we might have more than 2 decks of cards, but we've got the cards there. Let me grab the old hobby knife. Then I will zoom in. So we can take a peek. So we have fate cards. That's all that deck there. We have deity cards. So those are our deity cards, and we have more fate cards. Now, of course, we're not going to look at each and every card, but give you a feel for it. And of course, we're going to have artwork on all of the cards. I wonder if we're going to have a little bit of kind of flavor text. Of course, I feel kind of weird calling a passage from the Bible flavor text, but it is what it is. Advanced agriculture, plague of locusts, mountain of gold, 40 days and 40 nights. Now we might see some numbers in the upper corner, and if I remember correctly, those are cards that can only take place during that epoch. Civil War, dynastic crises, or crisis, I should say. Barbarian migration, heresy, so this is a religion card. Blasphemy, religious zeal. God demands a sacrifice. So there are some of the religion cards. Let my people go. Time marches on. Invaders from the sea. Yeah, there's those sea people. Desert Raiders. Cool. And then we've got Master Scribe, Philosopher King, Siege Master, Giver of laws. So they aren't numbers, they are letters in the corner. Great person, warrior king, high priest. Improved bow. War machines. Desert caravans. Sink into the sea. Remove all discs from one sea area and remove one disc from each adjacent sea area. Ooh. Your civilization is washing away. Wharves and bridges. Local trade flourishes. And then we've got some deity cards. So, Father of the Gods, Earth Mother Goddess, God of War, God of Peace, God of the Dead, God of the Forge, and God of the Skies. All right, so we've got over 100 cards here. And of course, we've got our cool GMT Games insert. So you know what? There are no baggies in this. That's something you used to always see in GMT Games releases. You would get a bunch of baggies. So I will actually be putting those cards in some baggies here. So we've got the cards. We've got all of our tokens, our discs, our blocks, our cubes. We've got all of our player aids, as well as our civilization. They're kind of like mats. Stickers, playbook, rule book, and it's funny, the rule book is less than half the size of the playbook. And that is what we find when we take everything from ancient civilizations of the Middle East. Zoom back out here. Of course, it's a manual zoom. Ancient civilizations of the Middle East from GMT Games. Once again, this is available now. Carries an MSRP of $90. It's for 1 to 6 players, ages 14 and up. Plays in 2 hours or more. It's all going to depend on number of players and the scenario you're playing. And as I always mention regarding GMT Games releases, if you have any interest whatsoever in picking up Acme, do it now. Because GMT Games don't have huge print runs. And when they sell out, they sell out. And you may wait 2 years or more for another print run. And if you really want to get your hands on a game from GMT that's sold out, now you're looking at the secondary market and you probably will be paying a pretty penny to get your hands on something. So, very cool. I will have a review of Ancient Civilizations of the Middle East in the future because I will try to get together the same people who played it with me when I reviewed Ancient Civilizations of the Inner Sea, which won't be too hard. All right, so that is it for tonight's show. Tomorrow night, I will be sharing my review of The Conspiracy for Delta Green from the fine folks over at Arc Dream Publishing. So that is on tomorrow's show. So stay tuned. Alrighty then. So if you like this video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, don't forget, ding that bell. Because it'll not only let you know when the Dispatch streams live, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday evenings at 7 p.m. Central right here on YouTube. It'll also let you know when I upload other videos, such as the 950th review from the Gaming Gang. That's right, it was Call of Cthulhu, Nameless Horrors from Chaosium Inc. Of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit the bigger and bolder, thegaminggang.com, for all latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more that you will not find here on the YouTube channel. If you're watching live, thank you very much. If you watched live and took part in chat, Joseph Qualm was with us. Didn't even see Joseph pop in. Sorry about that. I would have said hello. If you're watching live, thank you very much. If you were watching live and took part in chat, a big tip of the cap, because not only are you keeping me company, you're also keeping each other company while I'm focusing on sell sheet information or doing a first look or unboxing of a game. And of course, I know a lot of you out there, you don't have an opportunity to watch live. Doesn't matter if you're watching live or on Memorex. I really do appreciate each and every one of you taking time out to watch any of the videos here on the Gaming Gang channel. Enjoy the rest of your morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time of day it is in your neck of the woods. I won't see you again until next month, tomorrow. And here's hoping each and every one of you gets to enjoy plenty of great gaming with your gang.
Oh, hey, you're still here. That's okay. You don't have to leave just yet. In fact, why don't you subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel right here, or take a peek at the latest live stream, or even find out what YouTube recommends you check out from the channel. And of course, I'm Jeff McAleer. Thanks again for watching.